Hey everyone, welcome to the Love Your Body podcast. On today's episode, I wanted to do a little kind of just like check in, but also I had posted on Instagram and had asked some questions that people who are maybe first time competitors or people in their prep that had for me, and some kind of taboo topics that nobody really wants to talk about. So basically, I first want to say, my biggest goal with doing a show, because a lot of people who are on the outside looking in are like, oh, it's very like vain or it's very, excessive or like whatever. The biggest thing for me is when, with Strongman and everything that happened and getting injured, like I wanted something that could be my outlet, that I could feel confident again. I could feel like I'm competing, but not really against other people, but more so myself. And so this was like that into that. And, it's so funny because I always laugh because I was like, oh, yeah, bodybuilders like don't lift heavy. Did not realize. And if you've been watching my stories and you follow me on Instagram, you know that we do still lift heavy. And I just did a PR since I've been injured, 325 on a deadlift. And that was awesome. It's 100 pounds less than my ever max. But again, to not have pain in my leg and to feel my leg completely, like today I can feel my toes, like it's just been incredible. And, so every time I put on the heels, I put on the suit, there's all these things that we can get so wrapped up in the prep about thinking about like, oh, I'm so tired or oh, I'm stressed out or I'm anxious or I'm agitated or whatever, the food or whatever. But like I have been trying to lean into as best as I can and get the negative self-talk out of my head, and tell myself, "Okay, you gotta do the stairs today, and it's gonna suck." Like, say I did 350 floors, but, like, the thing is that, like, you can feel your leg, and you can do this, like, so let's get it done. So it's just putting in perspective, but then there's the other part of it where, too, like, I was doing my posing and stuff, and, I'm in this bathing suit, and I don't know if anyone else listening has dealt with, like, bumps and stuff, like acne, scars, and stuff like that, and I'll always post about this and try to talk about it. Everyone's like, "Oh, Danny, you're just beautiful how you are. You're so beautiful." Okay, did never said I wasn't, but what I'm saying is I'm trying to bring this to light that we have imperfections. There are things that are gonna be maybe imbalanced or that you just don't know why it's happening. And I've talked to many different people and can't figure it out and don't know if I'm allergic to something or whatever. Because my food is clean, my vitamins are clean. I mean, all my stuff is great. But it's something that can get you really down. So even though feel like you're it's like you feel so successful because you feel like, "Man, I see these muscles and these veins and everything's popping and whatever." But yet, you see these scars, these blemishes, so you have to look past that, right? You gotta look past the amount of floors or time you have to do on the stairs. You have to look past the workouts and how hard it is, but also be present. So there's a lot of moving parts. So I asked my group on Instagram and I said to my girls, I was like, "Hey, you guys, like, what is some things that you, um, like real stuff that you go through on the off season, right?" It's something that they were talking about was one of my girls had said about your like chest like shrinking and growing, okay, like and how you are intentionally putting on weight in the off season. And the reason I always say intentionally putting on weight, guys, because I think a lot of people who do bodybuilding poorly and don't have coaches, they just binge and they just overeat and they just go back to eating like how they ate the whole 6 months or a year before they started a prep, and that's not healthy either. Um, just like dieting, excessively for long periods of time is not either. So you have to have a balance, and that's where a coach, and that's where keeping the mental part, a mindset coach is going to, keep you as a good competitor, but also just sane. But anyway, so she had said about the chest thing, and I totally get that. I really don't care like the size of my chest. I've been like bigger, I've been smaller, like with my different weights that I've been throughout my journey in my life. Um, but I know for some women, they can feel, just not feminine and they feel like they have to put a bunch of stuff in, stuff in their suits to make them seem bigger or whatever, or they maybe have to get a boob job. And I know it's one of those things where like I don't I don't think you should ever change your body for, in terms of like a plastic surgery or whatever, like just to feel like better in your suit on stage. Like I would hope that we could find a common ground of like confidence where you could start loving your chest no matter what size it was. You know what I mean? And again, only getting that if you felt like you absolutely like had to, for your quality of life to be better and stuff. But I know that it can be a mind kind of screw because you're like, man, I'm literally like this size one day and these shirts fit. And then, in after 8 weeks after the show, I'm this size. And now all my other clothes don't fit me anymore. And so it gets really stressful. And I think people, when they start looking as a competitor, they don't realize that you're going through that. But I mean, for me, I feel like it's totally normal. And yeah, I just kind of rock with it. Someone told me, or they asked, I struggle with my off season body looking different, even though I know I'm not supposed to stay as lean. Also, binge eating all the things after the show, getting back to a place of balance with workouts and food. So I've actually been talking to some people who have dealt with this here recently about they just finished a show and that they can't stop eating and they're just like, feeling overwhelmed and feeling awful and stuff like that. That is where your coach comes into play and having a reverse diet. Okay. You have to slowly just like if you did it properly, slowly brought down your food for the show to lean out to get to your, potential body, your max body or leanest body fat. Words are hard. Right now, 10 weeks out. But, it's the same thing with going back. You have to slowly incorporate the carbs, slowly incorporate the, fats and things like that. To keep everything regulated, hormones, all of it. So there's a whole process to it. So if you don't have a coach, guys, like I'm not coaching bodybuilding like competitors right now. I'm doing mindset coaching to help on the back side of things. Because that I feel like is a piece that will put you apart from everyone else if you have like a good mindset while you're competing. Because a lot of it just gets really dark and really negative. And so I know that that's so hard for people to get back to that place of balance. So having a plan afterwards. So like even for me, I mean, like, I already know what the plan is after my show, and I'm 10 weeks prior, so it's just, like, knowing that because I stayed on that with my off season, quote, unquote, and really stayed true to that. So, the thing is too, like, we all, I think as competitors, you wanna stay lean and you love that look and, people value you more, it seems like in real life, and people treat you differently, and that's happened to me, and, like, people are suddenly opening doors for you and asking, "Can I pick this up for you? And can I do whatever?" And it's really kinda hurtful sometimes, but the biggest point in that is to say that, like, it is, things do seem a little bit easier. Like you just throw clothes on and don't have to worry about, oh, are they going to be a little bit too tight because you're in your, intentional weight gaining season, trying to put on muscle, and so it can get uncomfortable or your breathing gets heavier. And so there's so much that goes into that off season, but it's so necessary. And I didn't realize that while I was going through it, truthfully. I I did not realize how much it was going to affect me having to wear certain things or certain things not fitting anymore because I got to my smallest I'd ever been like as an adult, like in my life. And that's where a lot of competitors get to. They do it one time and then they're like out. So then to be like, okay, now I'm going to keep going with this. And I put on about 8 to 10 pounds of muscle during that off season and about, I guess, I think in total it was like 20 pounds over my stage weight. Like 25 pounds. Yeah. 20 to 25 pounds. Um, and that was even that felt like a lot, but yet I started this whole journey and it was double that amount of weight. You know what I mean? So it's hard to see yourself go back. And if anyone's gone through a weight loss journey in general, it's hard to go back when when you've put on weight or lost weight or pregnant, not pregnant, whatever. Um, but I think this because it happened so like on a plan, you almost feel wrong about it. Like you feel like, man, I'm messing up here. I should have stayed lean, but there's a purpose that you did that. So that's where I think continually having people around you that remind you that, like, no, this is normal. Like, put on the body fat, put on the muscle, because I think it's fear. We fear we won't be able to get back, but you will. And again, I'm proof in that. Like, I'm already right now where I was at last year, but where I was at last year, 2 weeks prior to my show, and now 10 and a half or 11 weeks or wherever, 9 weeks out from the show. Um, so yeah, so I don't know. I think that it really comes down to mindset. And then She talked about, like, the binge eating. Guys, if you're binge eating, like, you need to be seeing a professional, or having a supportive, like, mindset coach. It, is a disordered eating, and so what I have done is I had a problem with binging a little bit, but before I'd ever did any of this, like, back in the day, but really, it's more for me emotional eating and addressing why do I feel like I need to have that food. And when I am eating the food that is not, it's not about bad or good food. It's just like the food is a free meal or cheat meal or whatever you want to call it. Eating a food that's higher in calories and fat. Okay. When you're eating that, acknowledging like and being purposeful with it and not just like shoveling it in really fast because then you want more and you want more, you want more. Like that's normal that like you would want more. Like it's that sugar high, it's what your body is naturally reacting to all of that. So we have to take a step back and be just as mindful with that meal as we are with all of our other meals that we, maybe not that psyched to eat, right? And I really sat with that this time about intentionally putting on weight, being like, okay, I'm eating these Kodiak cakes and I'm gonna enjoy them. I took every bite in and oh, I have strawberries on there. Like, it was a beautiful moment because I was just like being off my phone. I play the same song like this is crazy, I know, but every morning, and I listen to it while I eat my breakfast or my meal one, because it allows me time to know that I'm not gonna rush through this meal. The song that I listen to is like 4.5 minutes. So like at least taking that amount of time, usually I listen to it twice and like sit there for about 10 minutes to have my meal and sit down. And you have to understand my schedule is very intense. So I'm usually shoveling food the rest of the day or standing while I'm eating every meal. So being able to sit with my meal one, eat it, breathe through it. I just got done with fasted cardio and then be able to just be okay. Now time to start my day. That's not only going to help my digestion, but that's also just gonna help my mindset, to be ready for just success. From there, the other thing that we talked about, my friends asked about was, so I've yet to proper have a proper off season, but main thing I struggle with mentally is comparing myself to what I think I should look like year round and binge eating. So again, we're back with the whole binge eating thing. Um, like I said, it's easy to do. It's easy to let it get away from you. But at the end of the day, it is something that can be overcome. So I would really, like I said, if you want to reach out to me for mindset coaching or your own coach or find somebody, a support system, an IG group, a Facebook group, whatever to lean into without judgment, that's what this group is that we created. We are all three, it's four of us, but we're all different women, different ages, different goals, different mindsets. But we have the safe space to just be like, hey, I'm feeling crazy right now. Like, what do I do? Like, what is, help me really put this in perspective. Do I want this? Do I truly want? Because your mind will play tricks on you so much. Like, I mean, it's crazy how dark it can get, because you're so tired and you're so lethargic or whatever. And you're just like, there's no way. There is no way I can lift another weight. Not happening. Well, that's why you have a coach and somebody that's there that's like, come on, we're going to lift the weight and motivates you. Because if you don't, you're not going to lift the weight. Right? Same thing with the food. It's like if you don't follow a plan, then yeah, anybody would go off the rails, you know? So it's like stop putting so much pressure on yourself and focusing so much on like what you're not doing right and focus on everything that you are doing right. Some of the other things that that I have actually come about with that's happened for me this time around, if I'm being really vulnerable about it, is like with my bumps and stuff, like is like just the whole picking and stuff like that. Like that's like a nervous habit. So I'm really trying to combat that. I have stripped away a lot of things personally that um were not healthy for me and for my mental. So I've been lucky to have with therapy and have friends and such great clients and such support that I've been able to not have to worry as heavily about that and like lean into those people. So support is everything. From there was something else that somebody had asked me. It was like for first time competitors, I'm trying to find it here. Because it was such a good question. Um, I think it was something like I have so many people that send me stuff all the time, so it's like I don't know, so much going on. But basically, she'd said something on the lines of like, as a first time competitor, what's something that you didn't know that you would think that was going to happen, or something like that. Like it was like, what is something that um like to be aware of. And or like for I think it was stage fright, it was what it was. And I was just like something I did freak out about was my spray tan, and it ended up being fine. Liquid Sun Rays did a great job and touching up everything, so that was not a big deal. The other thing was that I thought that at the end of the day, I thought that like with the stage fright thing, you work so hard, guys. Like we're sitting here talking about crying on the stairmaster for God's sakes. Like you know what I mean? Like we're talking about like staying up, getting your work in, taking care of your family, doing all these things, and watching your food and your calories and all these things, like and paying all this money and these and these suits and everything that you put into this, that when you get on that stage, like that is your time. Nothing else can change. Like, yes, on a pro level, I'm sure like the water you have or this or that or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, if you are new to the sport, amateur, whatever, it's not going to matter. Like when it's that day, like you're pretty much in it. Okay. So like, just enjoy it, have fun, like be proud of the body that you are showcasing and as your example. I think it's so easy to be like, it's not good enough, it's not good enough, whatever. It's never going to be good enough, honestly. Like you're chasing literal perfection in the sport. So if you can, folk keep that keep that in the back burner of just knowing that when you're up there, that is your time. Don't make it go to waste. You've been so efficient with everything up to this point, and it's hopefully shown you a side of yourself and like something all the things that like you maybe have needed to work on or address are being brought to light. So even when someone says about the binge eating or something like that, like I'm not looking at that as a judgment or as something sad, or with me with like the picking or whatever. It's things that like, okay, well, how about we work through that and show us that like this is actually going to turn the negative into a positive, and we're going to figure out how to get through it. So take your time, take a beat, take a breath. I will say I'm going to be at the International Day of Yoga at Cumberland Park. Small World Yoga does it every year. I'm gonna be setting up a booth there. So if you want to come by and see me and talk, if you want to message me directly on Instagram, if you want to come do some yoga and like reset, like I think that would be great. But just like do some yoga, come have some fight, like just meet with people, have a support system, because that's the biggest thing is I think you're so tired that you don't know who to reach out to or you don't know what to do or what to say, that like truly if you're going through something or you're having a hard time or you're debating whether or not you should keep going, like reach out to us, lean into us, and like we'll get you a community of people that can help. And I have to continually remind myself that I have a great posing coach. I have a great, regular coach, my trainer, my clients that help me let me work out with them while I'm training, and stuff like that. Like I couldn't get all my workouts in. I'd have to get up at 2:30 in the morning to be able to get all my workouts in and train all the people that I have. I mean, so they're amazing and I really appreciate them. But also like Crane Fitness, Core and Health Solutions, like all of them, like sending the sponsored equipment for my gym, so that way I can like again be more efficient, virtual train clients, work out, like get right back to it, eat my meals, like just I love the spot that I'm in, and I would not have been able to create that routine and regimen if it weren't for the amazing people that have reached out, that have supported, that believe in this mission, that you can love yourself throughout the journey. Like right now, I'll be honest with you, like I'm very uncomfortable. Like my bumps and stuff, like they hurt. They're not like they're not fun, guys. And so again, it's just something that like it's but again, I'm appreciating that like I can just throw on an outfit and be like, dang, like, I feel sexy, I can feel strong, but also going through that. So it doesn't have to be one or the other. And I think sometimes in this prep and sometimes in life, we just sit here and we're like, oh, we're either happy or sad. We're either negative or we're positive. We either hold resentment or we don't. Like it's so like that. And it doesn't have to be. There are in betweens. And so there are spaces that you can be like that. That's why I never try to look at it like, oh, that was a bad day. Like there might have been bad things that happened, but it wasn't a full on bad day. And the opposite, same thing with it could be a really positive day, but stuff still annoy you and stuff still go on. So when you look at me or another competitor or you're like, man, I'm kind of interested in the sport, or maybe maybe you're not at all and you're just like, Danny, I just want to love myself throughout, whatever it is. But like when you look at us, like know that, we genuinely are fighting for what we want. And it's a special time, it's a special moment, and I'm very honored to be doing it and excited, but it does push you to the brink and it does push you to the point where you're like, I don't know how far I can go, but I'm excited to find out. So keep listening to the podcast to find out how it goes. And if you get a chance, like please DM me on Instagram, Dandy Fitness One. You check out my Instagram and my website, dandyfitness.com. If you're more interested in doing any mindset coaching, like I said, I've been doing food accountability coaching as well. I'm not a registered dietitian, but I am helping people with that, just to clean up their diets and help them feel successful and strong. And if you're one of my newer clients, I'm so excited to have you. And if you're an ambassador, if you're someone that has helped out at a Dandy Fitness event or an event that we are going and sponsoring, like the International Day of Yoga, thank you. And I'm just so grateful because again, I get to the point where at this prep, I'm so tired and I can feel so lonely. But if I really sit back and look at it, I am much more supported this year than I was the first year. And even when people ask me like if you're tired or exhausted, it's like yes, but I'm still grateful. I'm still excited. I'm still, all the positives that come with it too. Um, so yeah, I'm ready to keep it going, obviously, and everything. But we're coming up on it, guys. So stay tuned. And if you want to know more information about the actual show, I'll post the links and stuff like that. But I'm sponsoring the Nashville Fit Show. It's an all female show. It's gonna be really cool. Competitors from all over coming to that, and that's August 19th. The week before is the Tennessee State Show, and that's in Chattanooga, and that's August 12th. So I'll be at both of those. And yes, if you want to come out, if you're interested in sponsoring, if you're interested in sponsoring the podcast, any of these things, guys, just feel free to reach out to me, and we'll get it set up. So until next time.